You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Radio 1 listeners, thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. This is a new month. It's February the 6th. It's December 6th. And we are happy to be here with you on this first week in December, getting ready to go into a new year. There's so much going on since we had our election that's coming up in January next year, the inauguration. I'm sure Dr. Julian is going to talk all about what in the world is going on right now. A lot of people have tuned out. The TV networks are talking about how it's not as many people watching the news, especially the Democratic stations. But we're going to hear from Dr. Julian. In our second half, we're going to hear from Dr. Alethia Tucker, who is serving as the president of the Maryland Miss Corporate America competition. It's very exciting. You'll be hearing more about that. But for now, let's go to Dr. Julian here on Spirit 1340 WYCB. Welcome to today's show, Dr. Julian.
Thank you so much, Lydia. It's good to be with you as always, and it is a new month, and we're counting this year down. Mm-hmm. Lots of news, but as you say, many people are just sick of the news. Every mm-hmm. time you turn on television or pick up the newspaper, there's something to be angry about, to the point that I have a friend, she said, don't even talk to me about the news. I told her, well, that's all I talk about. She said, well, then don't talk. One very nice thing. I do understand. The biggest news, of course, this week is President Biden's pardon of his son, Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden pled guilty to filling out a gun application incorrectly, and he also pled guilty to not filing his taxes on time. And he paid the taxes that he owed and the penalties and interest, but he was still convicted. And with the false gun application, he was also convicted. He was to be sentenced, I believe, sometime this month in December. And President Biden just went on and pardoned him. Now, the problem is that President Biden said time and time and time again, I will not pardon my son. He said it time and again. However, what we know is that the FBI designate Kash Patel, that the incoming president has nominated, he would be the new FBI head, and he has sold some serious wolf tickets about Hunter Biden. He said some horrible things about Hunter. He said he's going to make him accountable. And I think that Joe Biden is just tired of it, old, and his surviving son. His other son, of course, died of brain cancer. And then, of course, he had a little baby girl who died in a car crash with his first wife. So I think he just said, you know what, forget it. I'm going to pardon my son. It's the only son I have left. Now, it's not going to be a cakewalk at all. First of all, Christopher Wray is the head of the FBI, and the FBI leaders have 10-year terms. Trump can fire him, but what would he fire him for? So he could ask Wray to step down. Wray might, and he might not. So he can't. Kash Patel can't get in there until Christopher Wray gets out. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are very upset with President Biden. I'm not. But their upset partially becomes Mr. Trump has now said, well, if he could pardon Hunter, I can pardon all the January 6th deplorables. And he is very likely to do that. But he had said he was going to do that anyway.
Yes,
so this is not new information. So here we have it. It's very interesting when you look at the list of people that he has lifted up. Like I said, I've used Hillary's word, just a bunch of deplorables. The only one that seems even moderately qualified might be Marco Rubio, because he is, of course, a senator and he sits on the Foreign Relations Committee. Mm-hmm. But some of these others, I mean, they don't know, anything. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if you have to have been accused of sexual harassment to get on his list.
It looks like, doesn't it?
Pete Hegseth, who has been nominated as defense secretary, they have such a dossier on him, public drunkenness, sexual harassment, and downright rape accusations. You would almost want to laugh. Linda McMahon, for Secretary of Education, is a worldwide wrestling executive. That's what her claim to fame is. Who believes in school choice? I think the only one that when I look at the list that I halfway like is Lori Chavez DeRaymer as Secretary of Labor. Why? Because she has been very pro-union for a Republican, but very pro-union, and the Teamsters Union wanted her, and I believe leaned on the incoming president to select her. The other, Tulsi Gabbard, nope, not qualified. And then Dr. Oz as head of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. Anyway, I'll just stop there to say the biggest news, of course, is the Beau Biden news. The other news is that President Biden, likely on his last international trip, is in Africa. Should be returning from Africa. So I'm glad that he's going. I think it's good. It's visibility for the African continent. Yep. So both the outgoing president and the incoming are on international trips this week. The incoming president is on his way to Paris. This is his first international trip since he was elected. He was invited personally by President Macron in France to see the reopened Notre Dame Cathedral. Maybe somebody will spend some God dust or something on him while he's over there. But that's his reason for going. I understand that the cathedral is beautiful, stunningly beautiful, so he will have that opportunity. Now, the Middle East, let's look at the Middle East. There's a very uneasy truce between Hezbollah and Israel. There's theoretically a ceasefire, but shots have still been fired. So when they say ceasefire, I'm not sure what they mean. Things are still very tense over there. The incoming president has said if the hostages are not released, we got news that one of the American hostages has been killed or died. But he says if they're not released, there's going to be hell to pay. I don't know what that means. I don't know. But he's ramping up the rhetoric. But, he's been ramping up the rhetoric just since he was elected, and even before that. So we know that that's happening. But we have to keep our eyes on the Middle East. There have been 2 or 3 news releases to talk about children in Gaza who are starving. And theoretically, the ceasefire and the uneasy truce would let more supplies in, so these children would not starve. But we don't know that that's happening. We do know that obviously there are all kinds of shortages of water and food to everything else that you can imagine. Finally, Lyndia, let me wrap up by talking about the economy. Both Vice President Harris and incoming President Trump talked about getting rid of inflation. Over 200 economists signed a Wall Street Journal ad that said that Vice President Harris's attempt to lower inflation made more sense than the incoming president. But that did not influence people so much. So basically, the Trump proposals are inflationary. If you deport all these people, mass deportations, if you deport all these people, who's going to pick the lettuce? Who's going to pick the produce? If there's less produce, that's inflationary. There are also going to be hundreds, thousands of people. We import from Mexico, so it's not only the produce here, it's the produce there. Now, a tariff is just an add-on to the cost. So if something costs $1 and you say there's going to be a 20% tariff, it will now be $1.20. What is that? Inflationary. But the incoming president doesn't seem to care. It's very, very serious because he says China is our number 1 trading partner, but number 2 is Mexico and number 3 is Canada. So we do a lot of trade between with those two countries. So if you're going to charge money tariffs on each thing that they bring into the country, what are they going to do back? Mm-hmm. Because we trade. It's not just a one-way street. We're trading. So the woman who's the president of Mexico said, oh, well, you know, you tariff me, I'll tariff you. You know?
That's right.
That's how it goes. In Canada, young Trudeau went down to Mar-a-Lago with his hat in his hand. There's a lot of that lately. And they had a conversation, which I seem to have been pleasant, but there has been no retraction from the incoming president about the tariff. So I believe that everything that he's attempting to do, and then one more thing, which is, of course, they want to cut the size of the federal government. Mm-hmm. And they've talked about tens of thousands of people. Again, Mr. Patel says if he's confirmed as FBI, he will close the J. Edgar Hoover building and turn it into a museum. And he said all those workers who work here in D.C. out into the field. Well, number one, the workers may not want to go into the field. But number two, what impact will that have on the economy of the District of Columbia? Mm-hmm. Again, we can expect some rough times ahead. I know that Muriel Bowser and her team have really been looking at how they can react to this, respond to this. But I also know is that any promises that were made, you know, they were promises. Mm-hmm. And some of them will be kept, some of them will not. But if Mr. Trump goes the way he's going now, inflation will go up.
Yes, it will. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Julian. I tell you, that was good information for those of us who have not been watching too much news. Thank you for that good information.
Absolutely. Take good care.
All right. We're going to go to our commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, you know we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Ms. Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in." Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African-American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. We are back from our commercial break. Now we're going to go to our second guest. this week I'm meeting with Dr. Alethia Tucker. She is a sought-after international keynote speaker, reinvention strategist, and she is a best-selling author. She founded Jolease Enterprises, offering strategies for reinvention, and most recently, she became the Maryland president for the Miss Corporate America competition. And I know her personally, have known her for a few years. I've worked on a book project with her. I'm one of the authors in one of her books, and have done a lot of stuff with Dr. Alethia Tucker. She is fantastic. Even my church honored her for Women's Day in October.
Yes.
So tell me, Dr. Tucker, tell me a little about yourself more than what we hear, and your platform, and how you kind of got hooked up into this Miss Corporate America project.
Sure. Lyndia, thank you so much for having me. I always enjoy when we have an opportunity to be in the same space and share. I value our relationship, and thank you so much for having me here with you today.
Thank you for being my guest.
Yes, absolutely. I like to call myself a reinvention strategist because that is what I do. I work in a space where I help women, particularly those kind of in their middle years. I help them to find exactly what it is they want to do at this point in their lives. Now, that could mean so much. That could mean, reinventing to do a career that perhaps they have put on the back burner. That could mean doing that core work, and the core work is what I talk about when I mention things like tearing down the strongholds and working on the limiting beliefs, the things that we need to do in order to thrive. So I help them in that perspective to get around those things and to get to the real meat of what it is they desire to do at this stage in their lives. And then I help them to do it. And I enjoy doing that tremendously. My background is in human resources, so I do a lot around career enhancement and helping them to move into the career that they want to have. So that is one piece of what I do, but my platform always involves something that really does help women to elevate. And so in adding to that is my most recent platform, where I am now the president for Miss Corporate America for the state of Maryland. So it all falls right in alignment with, helping women to elevate, helping them to thrive, helping them to find their voice, helping them to speak.
I want to ask you, and maybe others might be wanting to know, it's not on our list of questions.
Okay.
How in the world did you get chosen? That's such a huge title. It's responsibility. I saw you in Paris with the group. Tell us how you got selected.
Well, the organization itself is about 16 years old, so it's been around for a while. It just recently changed their platform a bit and made it possible to have competitions at the state level. Before, I believe, contestants were kind of chosen from the various states, but there was never really a pageant at the state level. So when the platform expanded, the opportunity was presented to me as one that someone thought I would definitely be a great fit for because, again, Miss Corporate America and what they stand for in community and networking and involvement and helping women to get to their next level in business, that platform definitely aligns with what it is that I do, what is at the crux of what's important to me. So when the opportunity presented itself, we went through the formalities of it all. It was decided that I would be a good fit, and the rest is history.
Oh, right. It is. And you all are setting the precedence of what is the years to come. You'll be on the ground floor of history that was being made by this group. So
yes.
Congratulations for that. Double congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Tell the listeners how we all can reach out to you and how can we get involved in what it is you're doing. How can the public help?
I would love to do that. So first of all, you can reach me at Jolease Enterprises. That's JOLEASE Enterprises.com. That's my website. If you go there, you'll see where my social media lies. You'll see how it is that you can reach me via email. For Ms. Corporate America, I ask that you go to Maryland.Ms. Corporate America. So MSCORPORATE America behind that.com. Once there, you will learn all about the organization, what it is that's needed to be a contestant, what it is that's needed as far as ambassadors and sponsorship goes. It is a platform that I am so, so excited about. We've already begun to recruit, and we have some contestants already, but we're looking for more, and we're always looking to see where you can fit in to help with this production that we're putting on.
And when will the finale take place, the major event?
The pageant, or the competition, we like to call it a competition as opposed to a pageant, will be happening in Baltimore, Maryland at the Baltimore Convention Center, March 22nd, 2025.
Oh, okay.
The national competition, so the winner from the state level competition will go to the national competition that is, of course, among all of the states, and that's being held in Orlando, Florida in June of 2025.
Okay, so states all around the country are holding their local competitions.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is exciting. Well, be sure and remember, Lyndia, if you know I'm an event planner, if it's something I can help you do, please let me know. I would be excited to help you.
Oh, absolutely. You know I'll be reaching out, Lyndia.
Yes, I do. Well, I just want to thank you and ask you to give us a close, because our time will be up in a couple of minutes. And well, maybe tell us a little bit about your trip. I saw, was that connected to Miss Corporate America, or was that something private?
Well, that was something different. It is based on the work that I do, and it was the Woman of Heart Awards. Okay. And I was given that for the work that I do in the community, for the work that I do with women. So, yes, I guess you can say that Ms. Corporate America would be included in that, because everything definitely aligns with the community aspect of what I do. It aligns with me trying to make sure that the women that I meet, that I interact with, and whatever I do with them, that I leave them better than they were before we met. So the Women of Heart Awards basically recognized me for that, and I am forever grateful.
And tell them where it was held and how many people were involved. I just thought it was fabulous.
Thank you. So it was held in London, England, and women from all around the world were honored in so many different areas of life, so many diverse backgrounds. It was just absolutely mesmerizing to be there. With the Women of Heart, of course, that award was given, as well as some Queen awards were given. It was really, really a wonderful event, and one in which we felt the camaraderie. We really felt that we were being recognized for the impact that we're trying to make, and that was a great feeling.
I thought it was fantastic, and you were so deserving of it, and I was so proud and was wishing I was there when you were standing outside of the palace, you and your husband and your mom. I said, oh, my goodness, this is so fabulous. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Lyndia. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us. Just want to repeat one more time. If you're out there and you want to be a part of the Miss Corporate America competition, go to www.joleaseenterprises.com. That's her website. Yes. And then to find out more about the Maryland competition, you go to MissCorporateAmerican.com website for Maryland. So you can say that again if I didn't say it right.
No, you did. Maryland.MissCorporateAmerica. Absolutely right.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Tucker, for being my guest today. I'm so happy to have had you on board.
Thank you so much. Again, I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
All right, I'm going to go to my close now. Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Our guests today have been Dr. Julianne Melville and Dr. Alethia Tucker talking about Miss Corporate America competition. We'll be back again next week with Attorney Dana Stebbins, and we hope that you will join us again at 6 p.m. I always close by saying words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect. So be careful what you send out. Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. So from the Lyndia Grant Show, I'm your host. Until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Paul was one of the great encouragers. In fact, in 1 Thessalonians, he says, therefore encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing. And we exhort you, brethren, admonish the idle, encourage the faint-hearted, help the weak, be patient with them all. See that none of you repays evil for evil, but always seek to do good for one another and all. We should encourage each other at every opportunity. That's a key to raising great kids. And in churches and in businesses, that's how to be a good leader. So encourage your children, your friends, believers and non-believers. It will help them become better people, and you will be a better person too. And happy Thanksgiving to you too.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information. Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
And that day came. I wonder if there are any of us who have any real idea about how despairing many are today. Do you have any concept at all of how hopeless life appears to be for many young people in our day? On every side, there are troubles, and they don't know where to turn. They find no sense of meaning to life. There are not merely passing fancies. They are conditions under which some live all the time without a ray of hope. Invite your friends to worship service. That'll help them. I feel strongly that we need to lift up our voices on these matters, because God will be the light that will shine in those dark places.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.